Good afternoon, friends. I think the previous speaker has talked about the challenges. What I'll try to enumerate through my few minutes is clearly the challenges are not about technology. The challenges in India are not so much about the governance model. I think India is leading in terms of the boot and boo models, right? The challenge is about enablement, right? This is the current scenario, and this is what the citizen has to face. He has to wait in a queue to get a service. India has a young population, and they're an impatient lot. And we've seen the road rage increase. We've seen their ability to deal with technology is faster, right? Beat the citizen, a young student studying in a village school. He's now getting educated on computer technology, or beat an urban student, okay, who gets familiar with the technology a little earlier. Clearly, the challenge that a citizen faces is multiple visits. He does not understand the procedure. He does not come with the entire paperwork. And because of that, he feels that this quality of service is erratic, and it is contextual based. It is not same to everyone, and there is an intermediary always available to get in between the services. In spite of the e-services started, you still have, for passport, a set of middlemen sitting around the passport offices, sitting in front of licensing officers who will help you to do with the e-services, right? And there is lack of transparency. Here is an example that NIT was involved in. Now, this is basically integrating the front end, which is the e-services side, with the interoperability and integrating the back end. Ultimately, if you are using e-services, and SLA is important, and outcome is important, how are you translating that outcome to a service vendor? So we're doing this project in Australia, and the impact is very simple. When a service provider of a bus transport or a railway network or a tram network in a segment is not able to meet the SLA, the next day, okay, the system releases a message, and they are not able to charge citizens a cost of travel. Now, that's the integration that we are talking about. So today, e-services impact is about integrating multiple systems, which is the back end, the middle office, and the front office. Only then the service impact is felt by a normal citizen. And the ability to move and get those services, the brick and mortar cannot be wished away, especially in India, neither in Australia, right? Which has a 30 million population, completely computer literate, yet any shop, you are able to go and buy the tickets, right? There are foreigners who will come in who do not know how to go to a website or how to understand a procedure. They should be treated as normally as a citizen to consume that service. We've seen a number of challenges of how other people enumerate e-services. It could be G2G, it could be G2B, G2E, etc., etc. I'm not going to get into that. But essentially, just give you some few examples. We're doing a project in Singapore, which is Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health is managing government hospitals and private hospitals and asking them to deliver a certain quality of health services. Now, how do they measure against themselves? The first level of transparency has to be built between the competing forces, which is the private sector as well as the public sector, so that they could analyze where they need to improve their performance. So transparency is one of the key facets for delivering any good service. One is an outcome, which I talked in the first example. The second is right to information. Here is a system that we've done for Singapore government, which is the e-Parliament. And the challenge, even in Singapore, has been that the public debates that are happening on policy procedures, the standing committees that are sitting in there, information is not visible. Information comes in 15 days, 21 days, and it is based on the availability. In India, we are broadcasting the debates. But tomorrow, if you want to go back and recall that message, you can't. So the conversation with the citizen of what is happening on a policy and how that policy will come and how do you participate, get them participate, is a very important element. Now, this has got no e-service. He's not consuming a service. But essentially, it becomes an e-service when he wants to buy that report, when a businessman wants to buy a report of saying, what's the impact of this policy so that I can start addressing my business concerns, addressing my business risks. If the government is going to cut down emission control, and this is the kind of debate which is going on, I have the first privilege, rather than waiting for the policy to be completed, use someone else, insiders, to gather that intelligence and then start evaluating. So e-services, this should not be just restricted about government being able to issue a license. E-services has a broader context, right? It is about participation in accessing and interacting with the government. The other is, we've talked about it, the benefits can be many more. I'm not going to spend time on the benefits. My previous speaker has spoken about it, and I'm sure the following speakers will talk about it. But will talk about some challenges. The challenges that we've seen, especially in Indian market, as we are operating, is the whole area of data preparedness. The systems are made ready. The data preparation starts after the system has been designed and delivered. That causes the biggest challenge. So people will come and inaugurate the system, but the information, the data is not there, and you are not able to deliver the service. The data that is there in the legacy system to deliver a consistent quality is not being uploaded on time, or not sufficient amount of data has been loaded. So you are not able to trace a record right in the history. You're able to do it in parts, right? The other is that when the project is implemented in a municipality, you can only get that information in that municipality side. You can't go to, say, in Uttar Pradesh government side and link it to the municipality. So these are systems which are existing in silos. They don't talk to each other. And lastly, the organization ability to manage the new change, preparedness for change, change management, training, enablement is the biggest element. Because you may put computers, you may have smart offices, air-conditioned places, nice front offices, but if they do not know how to deal with the system efficiently and effectively, they cannot deliver the service on time, on the SLA that has been put there on a blackboard, that this is the SLA you'll get. So our learning in one of the projects that we did, which is the whole area of Kanpur Nagar Nigam, the number of people who come into the system, a lot of processes are not documented, in spite of being a government organization, in spite of being a government department. It is subject to interpretation. And every time a leadership change takes place, there is a process change. And getting and documenting and agreeing a process itself is a humongous task. And most of the projects get delayed because the process change and process is not well defined, the current process and the target process. The second is, and I was amazed here, this is a project that we've done for Ministry of Defense, for Ordnance Factory Board. This is a procurement system. And based on our normal human experience and interaction with the bureaucracy, we felt that will not flow through. This system went live last year, 30th March 2011. In 1 year, it has 6,500 users, 2,600 internal users. It has done procurement worth 5,600 crores. 145 tenders are done on a daily basis, on a monthly basis. Now, one of the key elements that we had to focus on was on change management, retain the diverse processes, because each factory had its own unique processes. Each factory was manufacturing a different component. So we use cloud technology, which is multi-tenancy architected, but we built it and delivered the solution on a private cloud. The same solution has been working for us. It's called Procure Easy. You can use it on demand, right? You don't have to own the infrastructure. But for OFB, because of the Ministry of Defense, because of the secrecy, the same infrastructure, same technology has been provided in a private enterprise or in a private network. Another one which we are doing, and we are seeing the maturity in which the government is able to conceive projects. But one of the challenges that we see is, I'm from a private enterprise. For us, after the order has been booked, the first thing that we are concerned about, how much profit do we make? right? That's a human tendency because we have to deliver profitability to our shareholders. And what comes in between the execution of this project and us making money and then continuing to deliver efficient programs is the ownership of the program and the involvement of the program head from the government side. And what we've seen is wherever there is well-defined ownership, structure, emotional intelligence involvement of the program manager, we've seen preparedness. So just to give you an example, the challenge in Tamil Nadu, because they've done computerization in the past, they started focusing on carrying the past data and being able to do in Tamil as well, managing the information in Tamil, because FIR is filed in locally language. Just 1 minute. Okay. In Jharkhand, the challenge has been about hand-holding. Not too many people have been exposed to computers, remote villages, right? So they're focused in the design and with us on how will we do the hand-holding. It's a common RFP, right? And the case of UP, it's largely about change management. Districts are large, right? They have not used a computerized system. They've been largely used to manual systems. They will have to be taught in Hindi, and the systems will be in English. How do you help them to migrate and leverage that system? So they focused a lot of effort on hand-holding, in change management, and thus we are not doing change management in any other part of the program. We are doing training, but not change management, whereas in UP we are doing change management. So one of the key things is to enable e-services as a provider of being the front end to the government for delivering certain services. I just wanted to share certain challenges that we face and certain opportunities that exist, and we've seen in shades of projects that we've done. Some have done very well, and some we need to struggle, and I think those are the learnings that are available. Thank you so much.